Okay, everyone, I'm going to do my best to be brief, but there's so much new Mario Kart World footage because the press and journalists and all that, they got their preview time on it. So just to try to stay organized, because it's crazy, like you could totally get lost in just hours and hours and hours of footage across hundreds of videos, but like we're going to just look at Salty Salty Speedway, and I kind of wanted to just analyze via 3 different videos maybe. There's going to be credit on screen and in the top pinned comment, like you'll be able to go to those links. I'm not just trying to like steal somebody's footage and be like, hey, this is mine, clearly. I just want to mention, by the way, there's like something Nintendo's not telling us about this right here. Whenever they were in free roam mode, this would be back in the Nintendo Directs when they did the Treehouse Live. They like just awkwardly cut away whenever they hit a you drove blank kilometers total. Whenever they hit that achievement.
There's a lot of like branding and stuff in the world. They say you've got all these ads
Red
on the side of the world. Yeah.
Luigi tires.
Okay, well let's go over to Crown City.
You saw that they went away, and in this case, the NintendoLife video conveniently cuts away at the same time. You're gonna see that there's a little, it's an icon that says Super. I have a feeling that that's like Super Mushroom, Super Mario, Luigi, something. One of the sponsorships, because when the Treehouse, when they did it live, they had Grand Prix gameplay, but after that they did the free roam on Mario Bros. Circuit, and you see here, you drove 300 kilometers total, and it's got an icon that says banana natural oil. So there's something here. I think they weren't supposed to show that on the live stream. So I don't know. Humor me, folks. But going back to the footage at hand, we see them racing as Donkey Kong here. This is actually where the Mario Wiki noted that the starting line would be, and you do see they actually crossed the checkered line. It's lap 3 out of 3 in this case, which means that this is an actual just kind of plain race. It could be Grand Prix, maybe it's versus, I don't know. It could just be whatever, basically more normal race instead of Knockout Tour, because then we can jump to these. These are some handheld from like just, let's call them regular civilians, I guess, like people's preview with the Switch 2. Remember how you could sign up your interest and go play the Switch 2 or whatever. But yeah, I think they were probably forced into Knockout Tour, and so Knockout Tour actually starts you here. And so on the Mario Wiki that I was referencing before, where we saw like, hey, they said that the start was here. Maybe I can put little arrows in editing. The Knockout Tour starts you somewhere else, and that makes sense, right? Because you're kind of driving seamlessly, and that would, I guess, be Grand Prix too. Yeah, essentially, they started actually up. It was essentially where there's a fountain. It's not the Birdo mermaid, not that statue, but this would be a fountain with some water and what kind of looks like Peach's crown or something. What's a little more interesting is that we don't really get to see that part of the course on this kind of zoomed out, let's call it like overview picture from the Mario Wiki. I pretty much have to assume they're coming from this direction, and that fountain and stuff, it's probably actually kind of more related to an adjacent course, and that's because you actually see it right here when they're selecting the courses. So we know that they're coming from Peach Beach, and that's the GameCube course, but you can see like the icons, just if you're researching these things and perhaps seeking it out, that's what we can know. So don't include that peach looking fountain and whatnot probably on your Salty Salty Speedway journey. Hopefully that's astute. I don't know. You guys may be like, yeah, that's totally obvious, man. But really, like a lot of the first half of just this whole video that we're watching of this person, again, I'm going to have like credit on screen and everything, but you know, it's very Peach Beach-ish at the start. So we honestly may want to speed up just a little bit because we really want to stick to Salty Salty Speedway, as I said, yet I'm like still getting bogged down in all this other Mario Kart stuff for Mario Kart World. And so you see that they're on a second lap here in the handheld footage, and I think that's gonna be more where we transition to get to Salty. But notice this person, I said the word astute earlier. Yeah, look at that. They looked to the side and they tried. It was just a little bit too late. They were going for Yoshi's, the grab bag right there. Would have been nice, eh, to get a Nabbit grab bag here, but it's all right. And so now as they make it through this part, you have to presume they're just finally getting to it. Like that's how long it took to get to Salty Salty Speedway. I feel like we're almost already done with lap 2, right? Because yeah, there it is. That's 3 out of 3. Man, I need to go back to the NintendoLife footage now, not our handheld footage, because if they hit 3 out of 3 right there, I'm just kind of realizing in real time, maybe they are also doing the Knockout Tour. Yeah, what's fascinating is you see the icons on the map right here, the little mini map off to the side, they aren't revealing the characters until later. Like you don't even see the people racing until they get to that one, the checkered line. So where we saw 3 out of 3 3 happened. The wiki claimed it was the starting line, but yeah, that's very much Knockout Tour. Okay, so look at me. I need to get my head on straight. All right, so let's go back. When they start getting to the Salty Salty Speedway stuff, like, doesn't this look actually incredible? You've got the veritable pick of the litter right here. They're all cheering you on, Piantas, Yoshi. But what I'm saying is beautiful is just these bursts of water creating these arches and stuff. You see, actually, the banner above that, it says Lagoon City, and there are stairs on either side, so you could go either direction. So there's at least 3 different ways you can go right here where that checkered line is. Should we call it the starting line? But yeah, if you go down in the middle of the canal, it's very Venice-like, but you see Donkey Kong here in the NintendoLife footage. You can get your jump and boost subsequently as you trick off of one of the gondolas. The Toad is there in the boat. Nice attempt at the bomb throw towards Birdo here. Maybe we'll back up just a little bit though. We want to make sure we see everything, because if we go back into the canal, you know, our player right now chose to go underneath the bridge right there. But you see on the right side here, that's our right, Muncher Coffee Roaster. And so you guys remember Muncher, right? Looks like a little, essentially black piranha plant. That's kind of. But this is cool, you know, yeah, Venice very much. It's giving that feel. I mean, like the Venetian in Las Vegas, if anybody's from the United States. I don't know if you guys have been there, but it's obviously meant to look like Venice, and so it's very recognizable. Point is, they captured the essence of it. There are sponsorships or whatever, like companies everywhere in Mario Kart World. I've done analyses on this channel already. Oh, so it makes me think, you know, how far should I go down all these? Because like there's Dolphin on the side as well as Buzzy. You know, it's like if we go through all of these, we're going to be just, I don't know, this is going to take like an hour. So Sting Bee is in there as well. Maybe we shouldn't point out anymore, just like maybe the businesses rather than the sponsorship banners. But this is really cool too, because there's just kind of water coming out the seams of everything, right? Like you see it on the side coming off of the walls and dripping down, but then on the other side to the left, and this could presumably actually make you go slower by only like a little bit. Like it may actually create some resistance, I don't know, but that's just my thought, with the water flowing against you and downstream, if you want to call it that, but down on this cobblestone here. And notice as we get up to this point, getting kind of close to what looks like a high point and a turn. Well, the higher point's going to come up here, but you can obviously see they've done the trick, done the rail grind up here. So I have to imagine when I look at Salty Salty Speedway, it almost seems like at any point, I don't know how many other courses are going to be like this, but the courses are all just in Mario Kart World so big that look at how many options you have. So let's go back. So yeah, DK's riding the rail. There's coffee, coffee, coffee. Okay, so there's like the center path. DK kind of goes off that, looking at the left path as well, but that's where you could maybe go a little bit faster with the flowing water. I'm not positive, but hey, the premium car wash from Cheap Cheap is on the sign there on the wall. But you see that even before they get to the turn, it's like where DK was essentially jumping off, you could grind that rail. So that'd be one way to do it, but you could also go like way to the right. I'll try to pause this scene here and show you with arrows or something somehow. So you probably can't go all the way up here because it's like that's where all the Toads and Pianta, it's like they won't let you run those guys over, will they? I really don't think Nintendo would do it, but the pathways just really, at some point, I feel like you can probably wall jump if you're, let's say, on the far left, right? So here, let's get ahead of ourselves maybe, and we saw this on the Nintendo Direct, so I could pull up that scene as well when they were racing with Daisy. Kind of a quick clip, but it looked like there was almost like 5 different pathways. I'm thinking now maybe more like 3 again, could be 4. It's just, it kind of depends how you get there, right? So if you're at this point now where you're in the water, you can go straight down the middle. You could like veer off kind of left and go on land, but there's also a grind rail above it. There's like a wall, so maybe you wall ride or grind rail right there. I don't know if you could grind rail to then be on the top. We have to look at the Nintendo Direct footage actually to see that, but you can do a wall ride up on the right. And so yeah, there is a grind rail, there is a pathway, but you could jump off that quote unquote like roof to the right, and we can actually see racers doing like a wall ride to get all the way over, and then they presumably would come back down, come down to earth, right? Come down here, and then again, there's like still 3 pathways. This is just, it's a very wide course, which is awesome, and I think we can kind of expect that of a lot of the Mario Kart World courses just because we've seen so much footage, right? But when we think about it, where lap 3 started on this knockout tour of NintendoLife's footage, we'll go back to our bird's eye view image as well. This makes it really digestible, right? Because they started here, right? Checkered line, it goes lap 3 out of 3. I made the mistake of saying it was a normal race, but it was really Silly Knockout Tour. And so honestly, you just kind of go up to the left. Maybe we'll speed up the driving so I can like really explain this quickly, but this is the simplified version, right? Up and to the left, and then another kind of miniature left, but then more of a sharp right there. And then again, a semi-sharp right once again, leading down to this part. We can actually see that dome-looking structure. And so basically right where I wanted to see things, the footage is going to cut out right there, but I think I can pretty confidently say that this was the route that we took when we go to the bird's eye view, but we can also transition over to looking at our handheld players. And so we see the Birdo mermaid statue on our right side, and so it's like it really kind of opens up into this wide area. So yeah, it does make what seems like a big course seem actually a little bit more easy to manage and easy for us to analyze, right? We look at the mini map, it is almost just this like oddly shaped oval. You know, there's a twist and turn here or there, but do you guys get what I'm saying? But you guys, I picked this course out of, I guess, a personal preference. Like, it's just one that I'm really interested in, not having actually played Mario Kart World at the time of this recording. Now, MarioWiki.com said that this was the first new course in the series' history to be in the Banana Cup, but this means that it'll be Banana Cup. But let's say you are doing a knockout tour, then it's going to be part of the Spiny Rally. But here's an image of kind of the world map, and this is where Salty Salty Speedway is. We know because that's the icon, but also people have kind of analyzed these maps. So you can see a map that has like every one of the courses. I like to use Peach Stadium as kind of like the main middle of the map, even though it's Moo Moo Meadows. That's the real middle. What I mean essentially is just that Peach Stadium seems like that, all right, Peach is our princess, you know? This is like the home base. I don't know. It's like the royal, it's the castle. I don't know if you guys feel me, but the literal middle is Moo Moo Meadows like that. But yeah, so essentially just east of Peach Stadium. So, you know, you're bordered by a lot of these other courses like DK Pass directly to the north. If we kind of do like a go clockwise, Wario Shipyard from 3DS, Peach Beach down there, the Great Question Mark Block Ruins. You see Dino Jungles all the way down there, but okay, I guess it's Faraway Oasis, because that's the, I'm thinking at least, I'm gonna really like Faraway Oasis as well. Cheap Falls, and back to DK Pass. And so Salty Speedway is in the middle of all of those. And so when I look at it from the perspective of the Spiny Rally, that's the fourth rally in Mario Kart World with the Spiny Shell. But anyway, it's gonna start all the way up at Boo Cinema, and then go to Starview Peak, then DK Pass, and then down to Salty Speedway, and so on. So Salty Speedway is gonna be your checkpoint 3 there. And I should say, like, maybe I need some sleep or something. We even see the mode, I should go back into editing with some text, but we even see the mode on these handheld footage. It says Grand Prix, so when I was like talking about, oh, they're in Knockout Tour as well, like, no, that's, it even says Grand Prix on it. There's like a big takeaway and difference is that, you know, when we looked at NintendoLife's footage with the mini-map and the characters not showing up until a certain, like once they were past the checkered line, that's not the case right here, right, on this Grand Prix footage. Now, the mini-map does change, so like it did change actually to reflect that, hey, we're just like only on Salty Speedway right here now. It almost feels like you're really just doing like one lap in the true Salty Speedway, right? Because you start and end at that checkered starting line, finish line, whatever. So yes, please forgive me. I tried not to be scatterbrained here, but I am. I'm tired and I need to get rest before Mario Kart World. Please, just one last thing. Go ahead and join our Discord if you're looking for people to race with. I'm going to start trying to set that up. But aside from that, I'll have videos that are kind of all over the map covering things about Mario Kart World. So I definitely really appreciate a subscribe. There's going to be all different types of content, right? Feel free to ask a question about anything if you want to be a part of the Q&A commentaries, because that's what I'm going to kind of start out with, where I just sort of shout you out, give you that nice shout out and answer your question. It could be about anything or just about Mario Kart specifically, whatever. But please click an end screen on screen, catch another video, and thanks for viewing.